You're tuned in to BS with Joe, the podcast where common sense still makes sense. We break down the news, the culture, and the crazy, one blunt conversation at a time. Buckle up. This is going to be good.
All right, this is BS with Joe.
And today's BS is the circus they call Congress.
Yep.
So the very first State of the Union address I ever saw, I was 11 years old, and it was Reagan's first State of the Union address. And I sat down thinking I was going to be watching history.
Yeah.
Reagan gave a good speech, but what really stuck to me was Congress and the way they reacted. Because you had, people would stand up and clap like trained seals while the other side sat on their hands.
Sounds a lot like Congress today.
Right. 40 years later, what's changed?
Nothing.
And they're toddlers that need a timeout. They're not congressmen.
No. They bicker back and forth. They say they're going to do one thing and they don't. As far as the right say they're going to do something and they never do. They say they're going to push some bills through and it never comes up.
Right.
The Democrats just keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
Well, it's not about politics anymore. It's not about governing anymore. Anyway, it's about spectacle. It's about getting clips for the evening news.
Well, not only that, but you look at Pelosi probably trying to buy stock in one company, vote on a bill that comes up about that particular company's effects, makes money off of it.
Yeah, and she is a perfect example because she had, 54% return on investment with her stock trading last year?
Yep.
You can't tell me that's not insider trading.
No, they're passing hopefully the Pelosi Act. I love the name of that. But
she's not the only one. Schumer's doing it too.
Yeah, they all do it.
Yeah,
and if not, they get kickbacks from something.
Right. So, a Gallup poll not too long ago said that only 7% of Americans approve of Congress in the way that they're represented.
Oh yeah.
90% of congressmen get reelected.
Yep.
So, what is it? Laziness on the voters' part?
Oh yeah. I think it's laziness on the voters' part because they don't know who they're voting for. They're voting on an R or a D. You got to do some research on the person you're voting for. See what their voting habits are.
Because this is not a democracy now. It's a hostage situation is what it is.
Yeah. We're the consumers and they're two larger companies like Coke and Pepsi.
Right. Yeah, we're going to talk about Coke and Pepsi and Ford and Chevy. But you see it in the visuals. You see AOC clapping like a trained seal. Marjorie Taylor Greene screaming across the chamber. Mitch McConnell freezing mid-sentence.
Yeah.
Like it's Windows 95.
Now, I do got to give it up for some of the younger congressmen like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay.
And Matthew Gaetz when he was in office. I liked him in office. A lot of people didn't like what he did, and I could see that, and I understand. And I understand why he's no longer in Congress. But those are the type of people I think we need in Congress. Somebody that's going to fight against the grain and try to fight for the people. And have the people mostly as their investment than anyone else. Marjorie Taylor Greene, where she got a lot of her donation dollars was from people sending money in through text message and other things. She didn't get it from big constituents and big companies.
Political Science Quarterly showed it that 30% of low information voters just vote on name recognition alone.
Oh yeah, like I said, a D and an R.
Yeah.
The family's telling you always vote for the D, always vote for the R.
And that's why these clowns don't even have to campaign anymore.
Nope.
It's on the challenger to spend the money and do the campaigning, and the incumbent just sits there and wins. Right.
Well, and Trump even faced this. You looked at all the Republicans that did not like Trump that were never Trumpers. They didn't want him in office because he was going to change up the way they do things. To them, they didn't want to have things change. They wanted to keep things the same, keep rolling on, keep messing over the American people.
So picture it. You got the intersection in your town with a whole bunch of plastic signs stuck in the ground that have nothing but a face and a name. What are they voting for? Who do they represent?
You don't know. You don't know what their stance on the Second Amendment is. You don't know what their stance on fiscal responsibility.
That's what passes for democracy anymore. It's lawn litter politics.
Yep. And we need to do our research.
Yeah.
I saw a video which I was going to bring up, but I didn't capture the video, so I don't know too much about it. But I know the Orlando Visitor Center, I believe, had all this funding to, try to get visitors to Orlando, spent millions of dollars on this project.
Okay.
I think it was the Orlando Visitor Project.
We get lots of visitors.
Yeah. Well, they spent money on sneakers just for people to try to get them to come to Orlando. I think that, trying to make branding, how's sneakers going to bring people to Orlando?
I don't know.
I think it's more of the events that they have, the community that they have, the amount of sheer entertainment that's in Orlando.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to bring people here.
Right.
Talk about how you're going to reduce expenses.
Yep.
And, that's how you're going to get people here to Orlando. And to be honest with you, they never had a problem with people coming to Orlando. But I think they mismanaged and overspent some of their
I
funding.
think that was a waste of money.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as the name recognition thing goes, I've seen it firsthand. Because back in, I don't remember exactly when it was, but there was a local guy that was from the area that I grew up in that decided to run for Congress. His name was Peter Roscom. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he campaigned like crazy on reform, and he promised change, and he got the votes. He got in. Now he represents what's currently known as the Roscom rule, which basically means you can hate somebody, but they're still going to get voted back in. Because he turned around and voted party line and didn't do any of the crap that he promised.
Well, how many people got voted in after they died?
Yeah, that too.
That's pure example right there.
So the voters might whine about it, but they're recycling garbage.
Yep. And it leads me to wonder if the different parties are backing individuals that they can control.
Yeah. So Congress sits at 15% approval, yet the re-election rate is 90%.
Yep. And the reason why their approval is so low is because they can't get anything passed that's good for the American people. Anything that's kind of questionable or bad or has a lot of pork or spending, they pass hands down.
And who do we end up representing us? Fossils.
Yep.
Feinstein died in a wheelchair, over 90 years old, in office.
In office. She was still in office.
Yeah.
They were wheeling her around.
Strom Thurmond didn't retire from Congress until he was 100 years old.
And it leads me to wonder what their cognitive ability is whenever they go to vote or what they're doing, if they know.
Mitch McConnell has been sentenced like he's on Windows 95.
Yet he still gets in office.
Joe Biden's throwing out word salad.
Yep.
This is who we're having as our leaders.
Yeah.
If that's our future, I mean, the average age of Congress is 59 years old, the oldest in U.S. history. And 1 in 10 of those is over 75.
Yeah. 1 in 10 of them is over 75.
3.4.
Wow.
That's where we are, 3.4.
Yeah, I was looking for it. Okay. We kind of pre-scripted these, but yeah, I see what you're saying there.
It's just so that we know where the research is. That's all,
yeah.
Really, mainly. But airline pilots have to retire at 65. Bus drivers have age limits.
Yes.
But senators, you can die at your desk and they'll wheel your corpse out for a vote.
Yeah.
And don't think this is just a Democrat problem. It's not. Pelosi made millions trading stocks. Biden's been in office 50 years promising fixes that never came. Schumer does Wall Street's bidding.
Yeah, Republicans aren't any better. Romney votes for running for MSNBC.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell, serving donors instead of citizens, and rhinos wear red and blue
blue.
is vote blue.
They wear red and
DNC,
vote blue.
Yeah, exactly. They'll wear red. They'll say they're for all this, but then they vote against
So,
it.
different color, same rot.
Yep.
Yep. So here's the truth. Division is their business model. Coke versus Pepsi.
Yep.
You know, Ford versus Chevy, Democrat versus Republican. When you have division, they win, and we all lose.
Yeah.
So that's why we have, that's why they're pushing the two-party system. That's why they won't let a third party in, because the two-party system make both of them stronger, because they play on the hate.
And we need to stop fooling ourselves and quit voting in these stupid clowns or these puppets for whatever corporate entities want things. We need to vote for the people, somebody who's going to stand up for the people, somebody who who you trust. Find out, do your research. We're trying to do our research. We're trying to give you guys examples. We're trying to get stuff out there.
So lobbyists spent $4.1 billion in 2022. They set a record.
And that's what they do. They just keep spending and spending and spending, and
when the people demand change, they kill it.
yeah. And the spending, it's frustrating to me because the interest is compounding soon. And we're just going to go further and further in debt. Groceries are going to get more expensive. Fuel's going to get more expensive. The ability to live on any kind of income is not going to be able. And it makes me wonder if the government wants this. They want to control us maybe through this.
That could be.
You're looking at certain states starting to want to make government stores. So that's where you could go get your groceries.
Well, let's talk about the biggest solution that we could possibly get is term limits.
Oh yeah, term limits would fix a lot of that, because now you have to, they have to tell you what they want, and you have to do your research because it's going to be a different name every couple of elections.
Congress once voted on term limits in 1995. They voted on it, and it passed the House, and Senate never even voted on it.
Yeah.
So, they're not about to vote themselves out of a cash cow.
No, they're not.
And the only way, actually, one of the states, I don't remember which state it was, but one of the states actually did set term limits on their local, the state itself, in their representatives. And Congress came back, or not Congress, the Supreme Court came back and ruled it unconstitutional because Congress is the only one that can set term limits, then change the Constitution. But there is one other way that we can change the Constitution.
Wouldn't that be
Convention of States.
Convention of States? That's right.
Yep.
There was a talk about that a couple of years ago, or actually last year.
It's
There was
still
a
going
huge
on.
talk
There's
about
currently 19 out of 34 states that are required that are on board, and it's growing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now,
The problem is, even with the Convention of States, people are still skeptical of it because they don't trust the people that are in the states. You put the states in power to change Congress, and now we don't trust the people here.
right. But the thing is, it gives power to small states like Wyoming.
It does.
It gives them a chance to get an equal vote.
In a Convention of States, everybody gets one vote.
Yeah. And I think it would happen.
So what's the solution? In my opinion, the soapbox test.
What's that?
If you want my vote, I want you to stand out in the town square on a soapbox and tell me where you stand. If you can't do that, you don't deserve my vote.
Right. Well, a lot of them, they have a website that you could go to and view what their stances are.
They're not going to tell you straight out on a lot of the stuff. They're not going to tell you.
No, and what we need to do for people who have already served, you could go back and look on I think it's a government webpage. I had it before. I could find it again. But it's a webpage that you could go and you could look what they voted for. You could actually read what their stances are for every member of Congress.
I think half of Congress would fail the subduct test before they open their mouths.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't even want to take the time to do it.
Yep.
But there's a few that do, like AOC, and that's how I think part of her won her race.
You're probably right. But that's part of why we're doing this podcast, is because we feel like the government doesn't represent us.
No. And you know, yes, things are going, I believe, our way, or at least mine and Joe's vision of what America should be. And things are starting to move. The pendulum's moving the other way.
It is.
But
slowly.
But with what Trump's doing and with what some of the things are being passed and that they're pushing on the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court is allowing, can swing back and come after us.
So bottom line, America is not getting the leaders that it deserves. They're getting the leaders they tolerate.
For the most part, I think there are some leaders in Congress that America does deserve, but they're so far and few in between. And I think it also goes back to gerrymandering. You look at certain states that have 40% Republicans and not a single Republican member in Congress for that state.
That's true.
So that 40% of that populace of that state is not being represented.
So until we stop tolerating the clowns, we're stuck living in their circus.
That's it.
So like, share, subscribe. Tell us where you stand on this.
Leave a comment. You know how we stand.